Welcome back to How Does a Tax Sale Work in Pennsylvania? Hey, you win the dedication award. I can tell you're really interested in this, which makes you a great candidate to be bidding successfully a tax sale. So let's get into more details for you. Here's another insider secret and tip. Please never, ever, ever buy a commercial property at one of these sales. The reason for that is sometimes the commercial properties are Superfund sites. They have environmental work that needs to be done on them. That can cost millions and millions of dollars. If pollution gets into the groundwater from that site and spreads to other properties, you can be responsible for the whole thing. And all you need to do is be the owner of the property. You can have nothing to do with the pollution that happened, 50 years ago. But if you own the property, tag your it, and those environmental laws are nothing to mess with. There's a famous case involving Mirabile Beverage, which the guys that are in Norristown bought a paint factory at a tax sale. They were then notified by the EPA that there were some open barrels of chemicals needed to be sealed and carted away by a licensed hauler. And they said, oh, we're out of this. And they tried to back out of the sale, and they couldn't. And instead, they were stuck with like a $450,000 cleanup. So do not bid on commercial properties at tax sales because you have no way of evaluating the environmental liability. And sometimes the reason it's being let go to tax sale is that it is a Superfund site and there's no use for the property, so people just let it go because they have no desire for it. So don't buy those. Don't buy farms, because farms have two problems. One, they have an area where they typically fix the machinery, and a lot of times there's environmental pollution there. There's hydraulic fluid that gets in the ground. There's gasoline, there's oil, there's diesel fuel, all this stuff. You don't want to deal with that. Also on farms, especially if it was an orchard, a lot of times they spray their peaches and all with heavy metal chemicals to fend off pests. Those heavy metals get into the soil because some gets on the fruit, some falls into the ground. It sits there. It doesn't naturally reduce, it just sits there. And when you buy one of those, you may have the EPA coming and saying, hey, congratulations on your new purchase. Now we need you to remove the first 2 feet of topsoil and cart it away and get it treated by a licensed facility. And you're like, what? That can happen. So please just stick to residential houses. That's what you want to buy at these tax sales. That's what's going to get you the win. So today we learned about judicial tax sales. That's the ones that come free and clear. They're always in Philadelphia every month. Oh, and by the way, all the counties that hold the upset price sales we talked about, the September sales, they also hold a judicial sale later in the year, usually in the spring following the September tax sale. September is that upset sale that comes subject to liens. The judicial sale they do in the spring takes all the properties that didn't sell at the upset price sale and sells those in a judicial format, meaning free and clear of mortgages and other liens. So that's a good tip, that if you have a property that you like, but it's not free and clear, then wait for it to come up in the judicial sale, which is generally held in the spring. That's not set by statute, so just contact the tax claim bureau and say, hey, when are you guys doing your judicial sale? They'll usually tell you, May or June, and then you just track it and show up there to buy your property, where the property will be sold free and clear of the liens and judgments. And the last thing I wanted to mention real quickly, there's a hidden opportunity at these tax sales. It's a business that I do called Overages. Now, of course, I bought tax sale properties for years. I started buying tax sale properties back in 1989, so I've been at this game a long time. But I discovered another way to make money at tax sale with properties that I don't even bid on, that I'm not the buyer where other people bought them. It's called Overages. It's a way you can make money on properties that you didn't even bid on at the sale, that other people put the money up for. It's pretty amazing and pretty neat. I have a video that I did on that. It's called Intro to Overages. You can see a link up there on it. That's a 10 to 15 minute video. It'll give you all the details of that. I think it's a really cool business. I think it's amazing to be able to make money on properties that other people bid on at the sale. Let them deal with title issues. Let them deal with condition issues. Let them deal with ejectment actions. I just deal with a little pile of money called overages money that's left over, and you can make great money with it. Very simple business, especially great for a beginner. It's a super way to start in tax sales. I wish I'd known it back in 1989. It took me till 2005 to discover it. It is an amazing and really cool way to do the business. So if you want that, just click on that video link and you can go see that. Last thing I want to share with you for the day, I have a buddy of mine who's a world-class expert at buying properties at tax sales all across the country. He's been doing this since the early 1990s, really knows his stuff. He and I sat down recently, had a sort of shop talk about overages and about his business of buying a tax sale. And it's a really great video for you to watch if you're interested in tax sales, want to learn about it, and you want to learn not only Pennsylvania, but even spreading out across the country. It's a really cool little thing. He's the best guy in the business on it. He actually teaches the business as well as doing it, which is exactly the kind of teacher you want. So if you want to watch that interview, just click on this video link and you can go watch that. It's just 15 minutes and you can learn a lot about this. And also that'll give you a free opportunity to learn about these sales and also a free opportunity to learn more and go forward with some training from someone who knows. Because one of the things I will tell you, hands down, this is not a business to go into without some guidance and some mentoring and someone who really knows what they're doing. There are far too many hazards that will not become apparent to you until you buy a property and then have a problem. You put up your money and it's not refundable and all of a sudden you have a problem. So it is definitely something that if you're savvy and educated, you can do really well in this business, make a lot of money. If you go in an uneducated, then you're going to get your clock cleaned, is all I can say. And it'll be sooner or it'll be later. It can be as bad as the guys buying a paint factory and not knowing that they were now getting a $450,000 bill for cleaning up on a property they never actually followed through with. And they never, by the way, they never actually ended up owning the property because they rejected the bid, didn't follow through, and ended up paying for the cleanup, which is sort of the worst of all worlds. So please educate yourself. The steps for that are, go watch the video with my friend, click on that link and you can do that. So this is attorney and investor Bob Diamond. I hope that this is useful to you. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to know more about tax sales, please subscribe to the channel. I'm talking about tax sales, tax liens, tax deeds, overages, the business that I do. So definitely do that and I will see you next time.